Welcome to Danfo Conversations. Welcome. How are you? Good afternoon. Right, I've got a special guest. You can't even speak yet. I've got a very special guest joining us today. He's been here before, so he's literally become a brother, a friend of the house. And I say, what I mean by is he's a co-pilot. You know, he goes jiggy jaga jiggy with us. Incidentally, he's in his car right now, so he's going to be going jiggy jaga jiggy. Why have I got Abiyeji with me? Why? Because throughout this week, you would have heard AI. You would have heard DeepSeek. You would have heard Meta AI. You would have heard open source. You would have heard about what I call the war of algorithm. And what I've constantly said to people is that there's a new war. It's called a tech feud war or tech feudalism that's going on. And as usual, Africa, Nigeria, the most populous country in Africa, is being left behind. Right? I've got to talk fast because I want to bring you in. He doesn't have much time. He's on his way to an event, so he's just giving us this time. Inyi, welcome.
Thank you, Sisi.
How are you?
I'm warming up to it.
You're warming.
It's still heavy on my tongue, but I'm working on it.
By the way, Lagos,
blacklisted.
that is a private joke between he and I, so I'll explain it to you another time. Right, so you've got to call 0201 277 0993 0201 465 7190 or 0809 597 5805. The one thing we don't do on Danfo Conversation, at least not under my watch, is to constantly go over the same thing over and over again, the same complaints over and over again. Whilst our complaints are valid, we also need to look forward, otherwise we might as well be blind. And looking forward is about Inyi. What is going on? First of all, what is going on in the war of artificial intelligence? Ibella stops. No artificial intelligence. That's what it's done for. Is tell us what's up. What's going on?
So what's happening is that, so for artificial intelligence, first of all, is something people have been working on for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is very simple. What if computers can do many of the things that human beings can do, right? That's the broad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what has happened is, for the last 2 years since ChatGPT, I don't know whether we talked about ChatGPT, all that, but it was created by this company called OpenAI, which has raised billions of dollars. It's worth $40 billion. Now, prior to DeepSeek, the thought was that you needed billions of dollars to build artificial intelligence. So there was no hope for us. You understand? Like, if you don't have, I think they've raised now like over $10 billion. So if you didn't have $10 billion, OTLA, there's nothing for you.
Yeah, nothing for you.
These DeepSeek guys out of China have now, they said they built their model and they actually showed their workings. They open sourced it. That with $5 million, which is still a lot of money, but a lot less than $10 billion, they are going to, they could build what ChatGPT built. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I am.
So,
I'm listening.
For a tenth of the cost that ChatGPT cost, they could build basically everything. Now, this has massive implications for the world because basically this is the disruptor being disrupted in less than 2 years. Right? So all of a sudden, the big organ, Trump had announced 500 billion. The traditional thought process was, you need a lot of money to get into artificial intelligence. And then the Chinese just came and bust everybody's bubble.
Indeed.
And said no. And so the thought now is, okay, who's next? Right? If someone could do it for $5 million, can somebody else do it for $2 million, $1 million?
Can Nigeria
$1,000?
Can Nigeria do it for 500,000 naira?
$1,000, yeah, 500,000 naira. You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea is, these are entire models. But imagine if you're doing something like AI for Yoruba language, for example. We're now thinking that, well, it may be possible for you to do this thing for under maybe at least $50,000, right? It may not actually require you to go and spend a lot of money. So this is just technology in action. But you see, before now, this cycle would have taken maybe 8 years.
Yeah.
We're talking now, this is a period of 24 months. And the disruptor has been disrupted.
Excellent. And that's what the Chinese seems to do. They seem to go in fearlessly, take whatever they can, build on it, create their own, or copy, or even innovate. And this is the question. This is the question, E. What is it that's in us? Because you said earlier, who is next, right? No African country has done it. We have, what, 2 or 3 of the unicorns in the world in Nigeria? Talk to me.
We have 5, perhaps soon to be 6.
Share you see now. Share you see now. 5,
so we're doing well.
6.
We're doing okay. Well, I'm not saying we're doing well. We're doing okay.
We're doing okay. Yeah, in fintech.
Well, no, I mean 2 at least of our unicorns are not in fintech.
What are they?
One of them is in talent, Andela.
Oh
Andela
yes, of course. Yes. I remember Andela. You people turned me down. You wouldn't take that one. You said I was too old.
Yeah. Auntie wanted to make space for the young ones.
Go ahead.
And then there's another one. I can't mention them yet, but they're very likely a unicorn. And they're in the mobility space. They started in Lagos as well.
Okay.
So I would say, Lagos, at least Nigeria, is proving that you can do it in modern fintech.
You can do it.
You understand?
Fintech.
Yeah.
Right.
But I would also say our young people are doing interesting things. Though. It's just that you have to enter markets to understand what they're doing. So I met a young guy, very well versed in this space. He does something called Speech. That's the name of the startup. It's called Speech. Speech. Basically, I think they spent $85,000 building a model that can do Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
I'm listening. Yes.
Young people are doing stuff, but we need to invest in them. I think what this is telling us is that we need to invest in our young people because they're doing some interesting things, and we need to support them. For example, one of the practical ways to support them, you see, one of the scarcest resources I had to show was called chips. So these are the chips to train models, right? And the miracle was, China, US banned China from GPUs. You understand? From buying GPUs from America. All of a sudden, Biden did that. Now, okay, I just want to take it. So the GPUs, because they were banned by China, right? They then had no other choice but to, because they were banned by China, they had no other choice but to be very creative in the use of GPUs. So they used 5,000 GPUs as opposed to the big industrial clusters that US uses.
Right.
So there's an opportunity if for example, if Nigeria makes up its mind and says, look, you know what? We're going to buy 1,000 GPUs and keep them in a server, and all these young people can have access to them. You understand what I'm saying? That can actually start to spur some innovation.
Yeah.
Because you see, what these DeepSeek guys, what they did was they open sourced everything that they are doing. They basically showed everybody, this is what we did.
And this is how you can do it. Okay.
And this is how you can do it too. So I think that's going to change the game a whole lot.
Okay, so
it opens the road for everybody.
Right. Okay, so now that we've got the secret, if you like, the Chinese have told us, and Nigeria works very closely with China, right? We have a close trade and economic relationship and even construction relationship with them. Again, I go back to, what is Nigeria doing? I hear you that we've got 5 to 6 unicorns, and I love the fact that we have those, but we need to pivot. How do we pivot to the AI space?
So my belief is that there are 3 very important aspects in which we must catch this wave. Like I always say, I think I said this the last time I was on the program. The way development happens, I don't know how many of I read development economics. So there's this thing they used to teach us called the Arthur Lewis model by a black Caribbean economist who worked in Lagos, by the way.
What's the name? What's the name again?
Arthur Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah, he was from St. Lucia. He's a Nobel laureate. He's the only black economist Nobel laureate.
Right.
And he created something called the Lewis model. And the basic theory is, to put it in man's language, societies that develop typically are able to transition their economy from a traditional model to a modern model. So he used the example of the British Empire.
Right.
By going from slavery and plantations to industrial revolution, they were able to transition their economy and develop their economy, right? So he was saying that that's what every economy needs to do to develop. Now, if you look at China took advantage of energy transit, like the fact that energy became commonplace after 1971, and industrialization was becoming globalized. So it was no longer something that just the West could do. They took advantage of that and became the manufacturing hub of the world. India took advantage of digitization of the internet in the 2000s. They realized that, everybody is going on the internet, and also everything is going to computers. So now we wrote that way and built the outsourcing industry. Nigeria has an opportunity to ride the AI wave. So actually, and the way we must do it is we must ensure that our young people from as early as even primary school are taught how to use these tools to do almost everything.
Right.
Because that's the future.
Right.
You don't necessarily need to be the ones building the tools, although some of our young people will build the tools. But imagine if a young person in school can be tutored with AI. Imagine if a young graduate that wants to improve their writing can learn how to use AI to write better articles or pieces or do their work with AI. If we start teaching our young people very early, we have an opportunity to actually be the best in the world at using these tools, like India was, and we can use this to ride the next technology wave.
Okay.
So that's very important thing.
Okay, but here's the other thing. One of the things we do know is that for people like you and those who will come after you and those before you, what happens with exceptionally creatively techie people is that the one thing they want is for you to give them the space to create and to take away. In order to do that, you need to give them the money to say, you know what, family is okay, food is okay, housing is okay, health is catered for. Go ahead and make Nigeria great. This is what the Chinese do very well. Heck, this is what the Americans have been doing for a very, very long time. I was having this conversation with a dear friend of mine, a dear brother friend of mine, who's in the same space as you. We spoke at length, and he said to me, Ireti, do you remember after the Second World War? Well, obviously we weren't alive, but if you read history, after the Second World War, one of the things that America did was to take all the experts in Germany, bring them over to America, give them citizenship, and give them the space to create, right? The space to do Albert Einstein and all of them. It's the one thing that China does well. Why? This is what we need from Nigeria. Not rice, not friggin' water, or all that pedestrian stuff. No, really. Because there's a very, very, like you rightly said, there's an incredibly smart young man or men or boys in multiples who are actually ready to do this, right? Yes. Why is Nigeria not doing this, and how can Nigeria do this? Specifically the minister. I'm calling him out right now.
Well, I think it's fair to, and to be fair to him also, remember that just a few months ago, he was shouting this AI, and people were laughing at him, right? So we also have to give him some credit for seeing this wave perhaps before he got to this level. And to be fair, he's made some efforts, even though you can tell he's been hampered. I'm not defending him, but at the very least, some of the models that you're seeing, like this speech, they're getting some level of support. Not enough, but some from NCA, the National Center for AI, Artificial Intelligence, right? In research, which is in Abuja, led by Dr. Bumi Ajala. And they've actually been supporting startups like Awari. They've been supporting startups that are building in AI. Even some of the ones I've backed also got some little support from them through Google. So they're doing some things, even with their resource constraints. Normally, old Nigeria, they won't even answer you. They'll just say, what are you talking about? Get out of here. But at least somebody is doing something. But the missed opportunity, in my opinion, is with our universities. And it's helpful to think about how China did it. Because I think the US has a lot of money. So they can do anything they like. But let's look at how China had this strategy, the T2 strategy, which is over a period of 30 years, they seeded their talented people into the wild in the US and so on. Then they had a strategy for bringing those people back to Nigeria, to China, and then working with them to develop new industries. That's why things like DeepSeek are getting built. If you go and look in DeepSeek and TikTok, they all worked at Facebook, they all worked at Google, they all worked at all those companies. Nigeria has to get more intentional with getting diaspora, with getting people in diaspora to come back to the universities, endow professorial chairs. And it cannot just be government, even companies, because at the end of the day, you see, let's take a cue from the US as well. The US were doing this because they were involved in a war, which they knew they could not win without some extraordinary force. So they had to get into the research. They had to get into the research of atomic weapons and so on and so forth. Nigeria is in a productivity rut. I think we talked about it the last time.
Yes, we did.
Right? And the reality is that AI might ultimately save us. AI might ultimately have the resources to save us. And we need to treat it like an existential thing, because if we wait for these countries to figure it out before our cheap talent can, well, you see, even if computers are not cheap, right? And now DeepSeek has proven they can be cheap. You know what? You know what they can do? They can work 24 hours.
Right.
So
Yes.
At the end of the day, it will still be cheaper and easier for these guys to get AI, you understand, to do all these jobs instead of hiring us. But imagine if we bring AI to the table ourselves without waiting for them. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They cannot be cheaper than us plus AI.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Indeed. Right. Find somewhere to sit. I'm going to go on a quick break and I'll be back. You're not going, no. I know how long you promised me.
I know you will get your full hour.
Okay.
Don't worry.
All right. Be right back. Thank you.
Nothing travels faster than news.
The Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, to a meeting over the Apex Bank's timeline to retire old 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes.
Great conversations last longer.
Then just give us some time. She just change all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's not being good. That's not being good. That's witchcraft.
We do it all here on your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
Nothing travels faster than news.
The Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, to a meeting over the Apex Bank's timeline to retire old 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes.
Great conversations last longer.
Then just give us some time. She just change all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's not being good. That's not being good. That's witchcraft.
We do it all here on your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
Be part of the discussion. It's Borderline.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
It's not just the news or information.
It is more than you ask for.
What we have seen when Lagos says this organization is meant to help us out, and the people working there are not helping us out. You have a situation where people say that if your husband doesn't do, then he doesn't love.
Where madness seems to be normalized, you will become mad.
And more of the rush, you just can't stop.
It's the station for more talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. This is a voice note on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
It was why we sang.
It's 2025. The biggest conversations are happening on Facts.
If most of Ebola was genuinely interested in local government funds, we have protested to be cancelled.
Somebody is receiving 30,000 naira after serving jail people for 5 years.
From the stories shaping Nigeria's future.
And he don't put my mood for that. Whenever people are clapping, he praise singers when they ought to be telling him the truth.
I mean, he did not do any remarkable thing in your state, and you are celebrating corruption time.
To real-time feedback from you, the citizens.
There is propaganda. They can never make it work. I will not support that tax reform.
This NBA is turning out very fake data to us because this data lacks empirical evidence.
We dig deep with the decision makers, hold the powerful accountable, and keep the conversation alive on social media. Join Mary Ann Okon every Monday to Friday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. for the most interesting news and current affairs show on radio.
I'm so sorry. I hate it when people make assertions from very skewed and biased places.
Hard Facts on Nigeria Info 99.3. Let's talk.
For 3 wonderful decades, Chocolat Royale has been a part of your sweetest moments. From birthdays and anniversaries to simple joys shared over coffee or pastries. We've loved crafting treats that make memories unforgettable. Thank you for 30 amazing years of trust, love, and support. Here's to continuing the journey together, baking moments that bring smiles and joy for generations to come. With heartfelt gratitude, we say thank you to our loyal customers, to our dedicated team, and to our wonderful suppliers. Cheers to 30 years of sweetness.
This is Ireti Bakare-Yusuf, the host of Borderlines. First and foremost, it's been a whole year of the new show, Borderlines. We've covered several global issues, and we will continue to cover even more. Now, if you have any suggestions regarding Borderlines, whether it's how you want us to be better, what you want to check, there'll be anything to learn from you. We will be most appreciative if you could share it with us. You will have to go to any of the Borderlines posts. Borderlines on YouTube at Nigeria Info 99.3, on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos, on Facebook we post all the Borderline posts there, and also on Twitter, which is now called X. Just go there in the comment section, put your suggestions, and honestly, we're going to review as many of them as possible. If you like, you can hashtag Borderlines, all right? And if there's a story that you had been wanting us to cover, global events, global news, that's what we talk about. Until then, have a fabulous new year. Bye-bye. All the best.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
Your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Welcome back to Downfall Conversations, right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back to Downfall Conversations. We are talking AI, DeepSeek, Nigeria. Where art thou? Have I still got my guest? Or has the line disconnected? My guest was Iyinoluwa. Abiyeji, we're on break. I don't know what's happened. I can't see him anymore. But in the meantime, you can call 0201 277 0993. 0201 465 7190. You can send, okay, I'm waiting for them to admit him now. He's in the waiting room. I have to admit him, apparently. Okay. Yeah, we're waiting for him. Anyway, like I said, you can send a WhatsApp message as we're having a conversation to 0809 597 5805. Inya, welcome back. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
I can hear you clearly.
So, before we went on break, we were talking about where art thou, Nigeria? We were talking about the minister. Now, I hear what you're saying about the minister. And, one has to respect that once you get into government, things become a lot more difficult than one expects from the outside, right? And I think that's what the minister has found out, to be honest with you. He's since learned that. However, there's also this thing about prioritization, okay? When, remind me of his name now. I keep forgetting his name, the minister.
Dr. Bosun Tijani.
Yes, when Bosun Tijani was made the minister, so many of us were excited. Incredibly excited, because we thought finally they've got a round peg in a round hole. They've got a young person, they've got a visionary, they've got somebody who knows how to do it, who knows what needs to be done, who can prioritize. It's this prioritization that I'm talking about. Tinubu's government has been there now coming on to 2 years. DeepSeek was built in friggin' 2 years. Where art thou? Again, where art thou? Where are we going? And I don't want to put you in a box, but I know
I hear you, but I will always say the truth, right? Regardless of whose works is God.
Absolutely.
And what I would tell you is that, we have so many issues, right, from the perspective of prioritization, because in previous administrations, certain things were not prioritized. Let me give you a practical example, right? Connectivity. Now, if you're going to do this AI thing, right, the least you must have, because the it won't work if we make ChatGPT GPUs available to everybody in their home. Do you understand? It can't work. So we need to, at the very least, have connectivity, fast internet connectivity in the universities. Do you know we don't have that? We don't have that. We don't. There is no university. I mean, maybe except Unilag. Even the Unilag. The truth of the matter is, the students in our universities who should have the fastest internet do not have internet. So, and you know, to his credit, it's one of the things he has prioritized. And I'm just speaking. I've not spoken to him about this. Absolutely. I'm just speaking from what I read. Right? You know, he has a $2 billion connectivity project. The first port of call is the universities, because universities in the country should have the fastest internet in the country.
Absolutely.
When I was in university, I didn't know anything like slow internet. I put in my university. In fact, when I was in university abroad, the truth is, every school had one internet bandwidth. When I entered my username and password in any university in Canada, I was able to access internet. That should be how commonplace internet was, for free, just by virtue of the fact that I was a student. Because if we don't train our people to use internet, so when they learn this ChatGPT, what would they not use it for? No, is it not online they are working? Do you understand what I'm saying?
It is.
So at the very minimum, we have to have that sorted as soon as possible. So I think it's a function of prioritization. Of course, there are one or two things that he can obviously move faster on, and I'm sure he will get the memo. But to his credit, he saw this before it became an issue, which is not usually what we see normally we're running to catch up. At least this one now. Okay, fine. We're not. The bus is moving, and we are not as fast as we should be. But we started running at the very least. Not that the bus has left and we are just there, still wondering whether that's the right bus or the wrong bus.
Yes, I see what you're saying. So you say, well, you're pretty much saying, you know, he's on this downfall, but he just hasn't really kind of has shown his face yet, Abi.
Yeah, I'm sure we need to get him on downfall.
We need to get him on downfall.
So he can answer his own questions, because I'm not the minister.
I mean, as in, we really need him on this downfall. It's it's overdue, and like, you know, as you know, we like to look forward rather than, you know, stay in that cycle of you know. So here's the thing. I hear what you're saying about the internet connection and the lack of connectivity, and we have a connectivity issue even across the country, not just in the universities. So should we then be putting pressure on the MTNs, the Airtels, etc., who are now asking for more money?
Exactly.
How do they justify that if we can't create an ideas lab with excellent connectivity?
No, I mean, this is something that we need to dig into with the telcos. They need to do more. They can't just keep packing their money and going out of the country. They need to deeply invest in infrastructure, especially now we're giving them more money. We must demand more from them, you know? So I think it's so critical. It's so critical that we do that. That's definitely has to be on the agenda, on the table. We also have to be talking about local content, because my issue with a lot of the telcos and all this stuff, they have so many foreign vendors. This is opportunity for us to develop. If DeepSeek if Chinese people were using OpenAI and not trying to innovate their own local services, would they arrive at DeepSeek? No, they wouldn't. So we need to root out foreign content. In fact, now we don't even have the dollar for it.
Indeed,
we don't have the dollar for it. So we now need to have a.
So we need to wake up.
We need to wake up. We need to wake up, and we have to start doing these things here.
Yeah,
we have to start doing it locally.
Now you can now call, because I'm going to open up the lines. 0201-277-0993, 0201-465-7190. And you can send your messages to 0809-597-5805. Before the lines go crazy, if you've got any questions for Iyi, he is the co-founder of Andela and Flutterwave, and he's a damn folk conversationer. See, we get all the best people, right? Because they're not afraid to go jiggy jagga jiggy jagga jiggy. Right, Ian, let me say something. Tell us before the lines go crazy. And if they don't call, I've got you all to myself, which is even better. let me ask you about the last time you were here. You spoke spoke to us about the project you were doing in Ikorodu. Can you take some time and expand on that in case we have lots of listeners in Ikorodu who actually listen to this show?
Yes. So, Ikorodu is an interesting, incredible place, very close to my heart. Exactly. And
I'm proud.
Ikorodu people are so lucky because you have one of the most progressive senators I have ever met.
Yep, absolutely. Name him. Jimmy.
Yes, Senator Abiru. Well, no, that's the House.
Oh, that's the House of Reps. Yes, Senator Abiru. Yes,
Abiru,
please.
But you have very progressive leaders, and I think that's one of the best things you can see. So now, one of the things that we were part of in the corridor was SAIL. SAIL is an innovation lab, basically in Senator Abiru's father's house.
Right.
Amazing place. AI. They're doing AI there, by the way.
That's what I want to ask you. So keep talking about it and tell us what you're doing with AI there. Yes.
Yeah. They're doing. There's actually a center led by the DG of the National Center for Artificial Intelligence Research himself. He does a class there. There's an AI startup in Ikorodu called Awari. They actually do a lot of data tagging as well as training and inference, similar to DeepSeek, but focused on local Nigerian languages. They are there. So I'm just saying that's what's in Ikorodu. Things happen in Ikorodu. I'm also part of a program called Smartan House, where Ikorodu has one challenge, and it's not the only place that has this challenge, but it's a bad problem in Ikorodu, which is this challenge with Yahoo. And
cultism.
Yes, we have those issues as well. So what we've been trying to do is to figure out a way to cut off that pipeline of young people going into cultism and Yahoo, right? By creating a program for very smart young people to be mentored into working in the digital economy. So through Smartan House, which was founded by Mr. Johnson. He's mentored a lot of young folks. I don't know if you're there.
Of course, now.
That an original Ikorodu boy.
You see, let me just say, when we say Ikorodu, we're not joking. Go ahead.
So although I'm a very jealous Bariga boy.
We've adopted you. As
a Bariga boy, I'm very jealous of you, Ikorodu people, because you seem to get all the good stuff. But we're working towards it too. At least one or two people like us are coming from Bariga. We're very close to a university, so we should really be punching far above our weights there. But we'll get there.
Indeed. And this is the thing. I'm so glad. And what you're doing in particular, I mean, all the other stuff is great. But in particular with the Yahoo boys, the Yahoo crimes, shall we say, and it's not just boys, you have Yahoo girls as well, although it's often said Yahoo boys, is that, and people often say, we have this incredibly talented young people. They're putting their talent into crime. Why doesn't the government basically create a space, gather them together all over the country, and just invest in them to do this? Where is this money coming from that you're doing this with, Inyi? I have to ask you.
Well, no, I mean, this is all philanthropy. There's no dime in it.
Wow.
There's no money making. And that's one thing I want to say. Like, no, there's no question that government has a lot of responsibility. A lot. And over the years, they haven't always lived up to that responsibility, right? But I also think there is a space for society. Right? There's a space for philanthropic society. You see, when we look at America, right, it's easy to say, America. America was built on the philanthropic endeavors of the likes of J.D. Rockefeller, Carnegie, the universities that you celebrate, University of Chicago, Carnegie Mellon University, Harvard University, all of them were built on philanthropy. So we need to do a bit more, we need to get a bit more strategic with our philanthropy in this country. It's not just about doing Sahara and sharing rice. Instead of sharing rice, why not set up innovative farms where rice can be grown and people can buy rice for cheaper? Why not do that and not make a profit? Do you understand? Rather than sharing rice, because you're going to now take your money, add to the pressure in the market, As you are buying rice, where we are all buying rice, we are all paying more for rice.
Yeah, indeed.
Is that necessary? It's not necessary. So we need more strategic philanthropy in this country, right? That will complement whatever government can do, and then we'll get better outcomes. And all of these things I'm talking about is philanthropy. People out of the goodness of their hearts just giving, to these causes.
Yes,
right?
indeed.
And that's what needs to happen. We need more of that to happen.
Yeah. I have a message here on WhatsApp, and I've got to try and read it. Your topic of discussion is really interesting for the growth of the country. But unfortunately, the issue is a trust deficit of the government, and the people is creating doubt. Okay, so the issue of trust deficit between the government and the people is creating doubt if we actually have the people with the willpower for us to move with the world in this regard. I wish we had a way of making the people in government listen to this, and also emphasize further to them the need to cutting down expenses on every frivolous item and spend money and resources on those with the brains to let Nigeria meet up with the rest of the world. That's from Stephen Ijaki. What do you have to say to that, Inyi?
No, I think he's right. There is definitely a trust deficit issue, but I also think that there is a patriotism issue, right? I think there is a bigger patriotism issue.
Why do you say that?
Alongside the trust. Well, you see, when you look at society, right, are we really rooting for ourselves? Like, do we even believe? Because if you don't believe, you're not going to make the sacrifices. And I say this because early on in this revolution, right, this AI revolution, when the minister was preaching this thing, people were making fun of him. But now I hope we can see now it's serious business.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? So if we really mean well for Nigeria, we should have been the one pushing the minister at that time to say, well, why can't more be? Because at the end of the day, these are politicians.
Yeah.
They're only going to look where there's public support. Same thing with our universities. I am trying to do a master's program. I'm sure they can hear me. I've been applying to do a master's program in Unilag. I can afford to go anywhere in the world, but I'm trying to do a master's program in Unilag. I'm working towards it. And, a lot of people would ask me, why would you do Unilag? And I said, Unilag is our own.
Yes, it's our own.
It's our own. Why would I go and do Harvard? So I will carry all the insights that Lagos has taught me and carry it to Harvard. They will now sell it back to us. No, I'm not doing that. I will do Harvard. I will do Unilag. I'll do a private school, but I don't want to do a private school. I want to do a public school.
Absolutely.
So I'll pick Unilag. Absolutely. Give me admission. But I'm saying, that's if more of our people thought that way, more of our business people thought about how much are GPUs? Somebody can go and buy GPUs and donate it to Unilag.
So tell us, you keep saying GPUs, that's the problem with you tech.
Yes.
You just be throwing all sorts of orishi words at us. You've got the likes of me and Mrs. Oboli and Market Woman and all of us listening. Please exchange GPU.
Let me explain. Look, there are everything that you like now. This Zoom is on a server. Okay. Now there are normal servers. Then there are server Pro Max. You understand? You know how there is Panadol and there's Panadol Pro Max. There's servers, which is like the one we are using, and then there are server Pro Max. The difference between the two is that normal servers can process a certain amount of information, but the quantum of information you need to process for AI is a lot more, and you have to do it fast. So you need the server Pro Max. Now, those server Pro Max, they are made with GPU chips.
Okay.
So normally those things are used for like gaming, like high intensity gaming or graphics or stuff like that. They're in computers that are very, very big and expensive.
May I interrupt you for a second? Just hold that thought. Don't forget, I've got a call coming in. Hello?
Yes.
Good afternoon, ma.
It's Mrs. Oboli. Good afternoon, Mrs. Oboli.
Good afternoon to your guest.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you for telling him to break this down. It's now to scatter my head, Sha.
Don't mind them, Jerry. All these techies, as are they talking fancy language?
So,
fancy.
in terms of what you just asked me, I want to throw this in quickly. Does he think, because lessons from China, I don't think we are even learning anything from the Western world as regards AI. Now, does he think if we had a younger person or people in places of power, this would have helped to fill this lacuna we have? technique-wise this day, you understand? Because technology is the way to go. And if we can harness it, Nigeria will be a better place. So
thank you.
It have to do with the crop of leaders we have presently.
Thank you very much.
Ma'am. I love you.
Thank you. Love you too, Mrs. Oboli. You heard that. You heard that. And you see, said Colin, when in your law you cannot go. Shall know your people. Stay with us till the end of the show now. This is the only downfall that goes to places other downfalls cannot go. Downfall that can go beyond Bariga. Stay with us, please. I've got another question here. It says, "Oh my God, the questions are coming in. Is there a way that the politicians in the government and CEOs of business can be made aware in a converted manner of the importance of investing in AI infrastructure? Without investment in AI infrastructure, it becomes difficult to scale appropriately." You've already answered that. I think you talked on that. Should I answer another call, or do you want to? Should I give you a minute to do that? To answer.
No, I think we already talked about philanthropy, right? Okay. Oh, to answer Ms. Oboli, we already answered that. But what is critical, right, is that I don't think it's just about younger people. It's about knowledgeable people, right? Because I see, some people don't have the knowledge. But now the beautiful thing is that Nigerian talent abroad. We have some of the top people in AI around the world. In fact, one of the things I was very impressed that the minister did when he was doing Nigeria's AI policy, he used AI to find all the top Nigerians that have written papers about AI all over the world and brought them together to create Nigeria's AI policy.
How interesting. Very interesting.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if we are really focused on merits, finding the right people is not difficult. So it's not just about young or old. It's about, can we find the right people by merits?
Okay, you can call back now. I'll be able to answer your call. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt him. That was a really important response that he was giving us. I'm coming to your calls now. Be quick. Hello.
Hello, Sisioge.
Yes, good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
This is Shade from Ijegun.
Okay, ma, go ahead.
I would like to commend Mr. Iyinoluwa. He's doing a great job, he and his team. What I want to also add is, based on what you have said earlier on, power is also a very important aspect of these things. Because if power is not constant, it will still render people redundant. And fuel is very, very expensive now for people to say, okay, if there is no power, we can quickly go and buy fuel. It's not everybody that can afford it now because it has become a luxury.
Yeah.
So one thing I also want them to do, I personally use AI for my work.
Okay.
What I do as a business person is that I'll draft what I want to use as marketing, content. I'll now tell AI, please redraft to make it professional and to lead to sales conversion, and it will bring out excellent results for me, which I use for my business. So AI is a welcome development, and I know a lot of us should embrace it. It's awesome.
Thank you, ma. Thank you so much, Adi. Thank you. Thank you so much. And the lines you can call, I'll try and answer your call. Sorry. It's important what she said. It's that thing where, AI is your best friend. Google is no longer our best friend. It's somebody else's. Let Google stay with Tinubu. AI is our own best friend now, right? and hold on. The lines are going. Hello.
Good afternoon, Sisioge.
Good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
You have Emmanuel on the line speaking.
Go ahead, Emmanuel. Very quickly. Don't take up the time. We're almost going to break.
Among our resources, we have some of these resources, that are used for computers, sophisticated machines and so on. What is the advice of your guests, in terms of our minerals being mined, taken away to go and use to create these gadgets outside the country, and then we ship these gadgets into the country rather than we creating those gadgets in our country with our minerals and then shipping them outside.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
For employment and
thank you. I got it.
Productivity.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Excellent question, because I already have it here. Somebody sent and said, ask him about the chip and the relationship between Congo critical minerals that's powering the modern technology. And it's pretty much what Emmanuel just said with regards to us sending it out instead of using it in our country. You have a minute and a half before we go on break. Not that you can go, you cannot go, but quickly, you can answer that.
No, I want to answer this and the energy question at
together.
the same time.
Yes, please.
Which is we need to start taking our big challenges and turning them into innovation projects, right? For me, for example, when you think about power, right? Is it absolutely necessary that we do this the way the West did it with a big grid and a big gen code? Most people are actually using, less than 2 to 5 kilowatt hours in their homes. Can we have even just like a battery pack kind of, system where people can just recharge batteries and etc.? I'm saying that to say, when you actually look at it, right? A lot of the critical minerals that we need to solve our own problems, they are here. But we ship them out because we don't know the value of them. And why don't we know the value of them? Because we don't have the people that can actually turn those materials into something we can use to solve our problems. Do you understand? So it's not going to be about, doing like Mali and trapping your mineral. If you like, sleep inside your lithium. Everybody is happy to let you go and sleep inside it. But can you find the best battery experts that are Nigerian all over the world, bring them to Nigeria, say, take $10 million and do a small battery cell plant?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Can we finance, like we have a big e-waste problem, right? Can we finance people to even start with recycling all these chips that come out of computers and old computers and all these abandoned computers and turn them into laptops? Do you understand? So let's start there and then work our way back to now using these minerals. Because the truth of the matter is that if you just look at the minerals and say, why are people taking it? They are taking it because they know what to do with it.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll be right back after this break. Don't go anywhere. We're going on a break.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
Hey, now what for this country? Everything just cash, even cash. KC, I don't define you for shops this morning. Why you did this kind of queue? Jojo, now cash I want collect since morning. Cash? Why? I know one waiting happen for 1672 happen again. Today, I must collect correct naira note for hand. KC, cash day everywhere for bank, ATM, POS agent, and if you want run and cashlessly, you fit use mobile app, internet banking, ATM, POS, USSD, QR code, and other options them. Dudu, you sure? I beg you, make we dey go. Your customers they shop they wait for you. See, the cash where you define for Sokoto, is there for your Sokoto. You don't understand? Country people, money na money. Spend them, collect them, no hold them, no panic. Cash day everywhere. This message now from Bankers Committee.
It's 2025. The biggest conversations are happening on Hard Facts.
The model of Rebolo was genuinely interested in local government funds who have protested to be cancelled.
Somebody is receiving 30,000 naira after serving the country for 5 years.
From the stories shaping Nigeria's future.
And to dampen my mood further, whenever people are clapping, he's praise singers when they ought to be telling him the truth.
I mean, he did not do any remarkable thing in your state, and you are celebrating corruption time.
To real-time feedback from you, the citizens.
There is propaganda. They can never make it work. I will not support that tax reform. If NBS is turning out very fake data to us, because this data lacks empirical evidence.
We dig deep with the decision makers, hold the powerful accountable, and keep the conversation alive on social media. Join Mary Ann Okon every Monday to Friday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. for the most interesting news and current affairs show on radio.
I'm so sorry. I hate it when people make assertions from very skewed and biased places.
Hard Facts on Nigeria Info 99.3. Let's talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
Welcome back to Dan for Conversations. We've got 3 minutes before we go to the news headlines. So I'm going to let you finish on what you were saying. So you talked about the power, and then we have the minerals issue, right? Like critical minerals and stuff. So go ahead.
Yes. So I think for me, I'm saying we need to deeply develop our research, right? I really like what Lagos is doing with LASRIC, Lagos State Research and Innovation Council. They're starting to, but we need to do more with our universities and with research, because imagine if our universities could come up with, a cheap and affordable battery power thing that can supply, 3 to 5 kVA of battery power, and people can recycle that, Imagine if somebody could come up with like a very basic, e-waste recycling system, you understand, where we can take all these old chips and turn them to GPUs. That is what China did. They didn't just sit down, look at what OpenAI did and go and copy it. They actually said, okay, we don't have chips. They've banned us from using their chips. And we don't have we don't have 500 billion to go and spend on chips. What can we do with 2,000 chips? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So that's how and the roots of that thinking will be in the universities. That's why I'm particular about the universities. We really need to invest in research as a society. Otherwise, we're going to be falling further and further and further behind.
Indeed. Right, let me try. Oh, you were calling. I can pick up your call if you call back right now. Okay, let me pick up that call. Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Ahigbe from First Start.
Go ahead, Ahigbe.
Yeah, what I want to say is that the grassroots development is what will enhance the middle development and the top of the hem of affairs. For instance, during the Ogbemudia time, they have what they call
I need you to hurry up, ma, because we got seconds.
They have what they call farm settlement. So there was a lot of production going on, and the things were cheap. Because if you are supposed to buy orange 100 naira.
So your point is, ma, because we're going to literally go into news now. What is your point, please?
Yeah, my point is that instead of talking about the middle aspect of it, why start from the grassroots?
Okay, thank you.
The farm settlement, so that things will be cheap.
Thank you. Right. I'll be right back with you. We've got Ufoma here. He's telling us the news headlines.
Minding our business about information is not our thing.
We bring it to bed.
President Bola Tinubu says his 9-month-old administration has attracted $30 billion.
This government is full of propaganda.
One of the reasons why there is scarcity of food is because of the lack of coordination.
Nigerians want to see what you are doing. They don't want to hear what you want to do. The president himself said, he said, let the poor free. They are kneeling on our necks.
Nigeria Info. Your station for the... It's 99.3. It's 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock.
The headline news on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Headline news at this hour. Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi has described as lawful the continuous stay in office of the Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun. Stakeholders in the health and education sectors have called for hand washing to be included in the national curriculum to sustain the gains recorded in the hand hygiene program implemented in 3 states of the Federation. The Independent National Electoral Commission has called on political parties to uphold democratic principles in their internal processes. The PDP has vowed to put an end to the lingering crisis in the party. Lagos State Government has announced plans to provide feed and other inputs to poultry and fish farmers at 25% reduction. And the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority has impounded 173 vehicles for violating traffic regulations and road obstruction. Some persons living with HIV in Nigeria have raised concerns over access to antiretroviral drugs after U.S. President Donald Trump ordered a 90-day freeze on foreign aid. The Nigeria Labour Congress is still lamenting about the removal of subsidies and increased tariffs. Economic and Financial Crime Commission has promised to work on complaints of citizens who are unable to access its website for the auction of forfeited vehicles. Investigators have recovered the flight data recorders, also known as black boxes, from an American Airlines jet which collided with a U.S. Army helicopter on Wednesday near Washington, D.C. And finally, the Champions League playoff draw is out. To bring you details of these and other stories at 3 p.m. It's now back to Downfall Conversation.
No matter where you are, download our mobile app by searching Nigeria Info FM on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Also, get news updates in sports, entertainment, news, and current affairs right on the app. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. Join the conversation no matter where you are. Download our mobile app by searching Nigeria Info FM on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Also, get news updates in sports, entertainment, news, and current affairs right on the app. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. Welcome back to Downful Conversations, right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back to Downful Conversations with Ireti Bakare-Yusuf, aka Cecile. My guest is Iyin, you know him, Andela, Flutterwave, and now he's become an honorary Omoeluku as a result of all the brilliant work that he's doing in Ikorodu, Lagos State, etc. So before we went on break, I think you were telling us, you had spoken to us about the power issue and the minerals and stuff, but let's extend this to Africa. Is there a way that we can combine efforts, not just in Nigeria, because we can be greater as one, right, rather than as individuals, right?
Absolutely. And one of the things I'm very excited about is the AFCFTA, because that's the political sets, the political sets work that we will now build on top with trade protocols to be able to now come together. But you see, those capacities have to exist on the continent. You understand? So imagine, you have Congo, with all these silicon and minerals and all of that. In Nigeria, you have lithium. You even have uranium in some parts of Nigeria. Some of what we give away, we don't even know the value of it.
Yeah.
There was a friend of mine that was telling me that, somewhere in the north.
Can I interrupt you? Hold that thought. Yes. Don't forget it. Let me just quickly answer this call. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma. What's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
Okay, this is Joy. I'm calling from,
You have 1 minute. Go ahead, Joy, very quickly, please.
Very good one. I like all what your guest is saying. It's actually very good, yes. But what I'm saying is, like some people have also said, power is too expensive here, and even when it's available, it's too expensive. So that one too is going to, disrupt us from even moving higher. So let the government also make power, cheap for people to be able to have energy to, assess, whatever innovations they want to bring up. And again, data, as they want to do now, is going to go high, which is also not their fault because of how, whatever the overhead costs that they incur. So let government they can also come in.
Okay. Do you have a question for him?
No, that's what I'm just trying to say, that everything he's saying is fine, but the issues that we are having that is going to make it not easy. In my office, in my organization, we do CSR. Even organizations do CSR for the government, for schools and all that, but it cannot be enough if the government is not giving an enabling environment.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Everything, but power to power all those things in those small schools.
Thank you so much, Joy. Thank you. Right. So before we went on break, I know you're going to tell us the story of your friend that you were telling us, but there was a caller who said, "Why not start from the grassroots?" Isn't that what you're already saying? But go ahead, tell us the story of your friend, and then respond to the grassroots question.
Let me start with the grassroots question very quickly. I think the thing about the grassroots, though, is that we need to understand that the grassroots concerns are very short term. And the reality is that technology, right, can help us serve them better at scale. You understand what I'm saying?
Can I interrogate what you just said? What do you mean by the grassroots? What does it needs a very short term? So what do you mean?
Practical things, right? Food is the major concern of the grassroots. Now, do you know that Nigeria only farms in the wet season? But most of the countries that we're trying to import food from farm all year round. If all we did in this country was double the output of agriculture, right, or agricultural produce by farming all year round, right, immediately you've halved the cost of food. Immediately. That's how the grassroots will feel it. But now if you focus on, let's make sure the grassroots have rice, you're not going to solve any problem for the grassroots.
Okay.
All the money in the world is similar to what we are facing on fuel. We've always known this fuel issue was going to put us in trouble. But you see, between the rich politicians grifting off of the grassroots by providing them with cheap fuel, quote unquote, while stealing 90% of it, robbing the government, right? We never innovated our way out of the solution. And that's one thing I'm very particular about. We cannot continue to ask governments that we don't trust to solve all our problems. We have to be careful because all government has is money. And at the end of the day, before it gets to you in the grassroots, it will go through many hands. And you know what I mean by that.
Absolutely.
So how can we solve our problems by reducing the cost of technology, making technology cheaper, more accessible, all these problems you talked about, power, energy, all this stuff, there is technology solutions for them. All we have to do is adapt those solutions to our context. And government will not do that. The first thing government will be looking for is a contractor.
Indeed. So tell us about your friend. So
I was saying that my friend was telling me, was telling me how some Chinese people came and they basically were mining on his site, right? He has a mining license. They mine on his site. And, he is very smart. He's a technology literate person. So he now actually started doing some separation, right, of the things that they take. Normally, they just take the sand and ship it to China. He said, no, I'm going to start testing these things. And he realized that, there were a bunch of things that were lithium, which was what they were paying him for. And then there were other things that they were not paying him for. So he separated the lithium from the other things. You know that when he gave it to the Chinese people, they said, where's the rest of the sand? Wow. So they are preying on our ignorance. Yes, they're like, where's the rest of the sand? It's not complete. And he was like, no, that's not what you said you were buying. So if you want to buy those things, please bring your money.
Let's sign another contract. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Indeed.
So these are the kind of things that happen because we don't take research and science seriously in this country. And until we change our attitude to that, we cannot develop.
Indeed. R&D is the way. I've got a message here. Who is it from? It's from, I don't know. You think Olodo? Okay. He calls himself your friendly neighbor. I am Olodo. Here's what he said. He said, hello, Sisoge. We need all these billionaire industrialists to open affordable universities here in Nigeria. That would be the best philanthropy, in my opinion. Most times, they say the graduates in this country are unemployable. This way, they can train them to work in their respective industries, or the graduates could excel in whatever field they choose, killing two birds with one stone. This is your friendly neighbor. P.S. Instead of opening big, large churches and other places of worships, I hope I don't get crucified for it. No pun intended, of course. Ha, ha, ha.
Well, I will tell you this. I actually agree with him. And I won't go one step further. If left to me, I would ask every private school in Nigeria to affiliate to a public university.
Why?
Immediately. Well, you see, this is the challenge, right? The people who can afford private universities, right, are replicating infrastructure that is better served by the scale of public universities. So let's do the price discrimination properly, like how they do in Ghana. Okay, you can afford private school, you have the money, no problem. Go and build your infrastructure, go and do your thing. But you know what? A portion of your fees must go to public universities, and the research must be done together.
Interesting.
But you also have to make sure that the public university administration and leadership is at the top. Do you understand? They cannot be Olodos. They have to be proper administrators. Like, I love the administration of Unilag is so amazing. It's like dealing with UC Berkeley. It's like dealing with it doesn't look like it, but the structure, in spite of the resource constraints, you can tell is there. You can tell they are thinking.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Sometimes I see some university VCs. I don't want everybody to crucify me on radio. And I'm like, you understand? We're not talking. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So we need to, in fact, left to me, if I was the president, I'll go to the US. I'll get all these professors that we paid for their fees in the 70s and the jackpot. I'll just bring all of them to Nigeria. Like, how much do you want?
Yeah. I get you.
How much do you want?
Yeah.
You understand? Because you need your universities to work, to compete. These things are not going to happen with private sector. They are too focused on making money. And government cannot solve problems. I hope you know. All government has is money. They don't have there's nobody in government that thinks anywhere in the world. Have you ever seen a government that said, we have a groundbreaking innovation we are the Ministry of Defense. It doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
You know?
And that's it. What you're saying is government is an enabler. They own the infrastructure. The ideas come from this private sector. And most people in Nigeria don't realize that. In fact, the last time you were here, that was part of what you said. You said, look, yeah, we have issues in this country and we expect so much from government, but there's so much more we can do beyond government. Before you go, before we run out of time, 2 critical things that I would like to ask you. One of it is, tell us about the young Iyi. The young Iyi that graduated, how did you get it? Because my phone is full, literally, like so many people are loving this conversation. And I love talking to you, as you know, and I look up to you, you inspire me too. But there are many young people who are also listening to this, who may not be able to call. Talk to us about what drove you. So you finished university, and then what?
Yes. I came home. One thing I'll tell you is, my father and my father and my mother, the biggest sacrifice and gift they gave me was fantastic education. They spared no expense. I mean, when I went to primary school, I was only when I became older I understood this. I was going to school with my father's boss's bosses. Do you understand? And yeah, so maybe, you know, I didn't have the cars. I wasn't coming in the cars. They were coming in. We'll come in at that soon. They'll come in Mercedes. It's okay. You understand what I'm saying? I got the same education. They don't have the T class. You understand? No. God made a way. I was able to go to Waterloo in Canada, which excelled. So that sort of education has really helped me. But see, it's not enough. It's not enough, right? Now, I think for me, my faith has been my compass in everything that I grab. And you know, I came to this country 10 years ago. I came straight from Canada. The rest of my siblings ended up staying because that was the idea, right? You go abroad, you stay, you know, you get the passport. I'm only a Nigerian citizen. I don't have any other passports. And I came back to Nigeria as soon as I graduated. 1 year later, I came back to Nigeria and I learned. Now, here's the thing I have for young people. Young people have to understand, right, that you cannot allow anybody to define your limits for you, but you have to be ready to go through the fire. It's not easy. When I came back to Nigeria, and speaking of young Inu, right, my peers, remember this going to fancy schools thing, I did go to them, but it's a gift and a curse when you come from my background, right? Because your friends have rich parents that can give them government appointments, blah, 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 blah. You can't even go to the same clubs as they did, right? I never went to the same club. I was like, this is spending my house rent because his father is giving it to him.
Yeah, indeed.
Meanwhile, my father is like, okay, I'm a pastor. I can't steal money. So you have to find your way.
And this is the thing. You know, they do say that children of the elite are not today's innovators.
But they can't now. They're too comfortable. I mean, why would they innovate? What are you innovating for? You don't really innovate if you have a problem. And if you're a rich kid, you don't have problems. There's nothing you cannot buy from America. So why would you? What are you innovating for?
So is it that seed that look, I'm going to change the world through the prism of how I grew up to ensure that others are able to also go, you know, ahead of me. That is
always my perspective, right? My perspective is the people that I grew up with. How can I make sure opportunities are available to them? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because technology has now made it easy and democratizable. All the things you are going to learn in Harvard, you can learn on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right?
Indeed.
See the DeepSeek now. Before they would say, oh, you have to travel and experience AI. Everybody, even if you have 10 MB, from your MTN phone, you can use DeepSeek.
Absolutely. So we're running out of time. Here's the thing, because before Madame here tells me you only have 1 second, you have to go, Sisi.
Yes.
People are sending me questions about how can they get entry into these your Ikorodu initiatives.
They should go to SAIL. So Senator Abiru Innovation, SAIL.
Right.
Senator Abiru Innovation Lab. It's in Ikorodu. If you Google it, you will see it. Just go there and you can access it. For Smartan, they have a website. So if you Google Smartan House, you will see a website. SMARTAN. You will see their website and you can just apply. All these programs are open and accessible to the public.
Is there an age limit?
But there is a process. I don't believe so. Well, for Smartan, yes, there is. I think they don't take kids above 18.
Okay.
It's 15 to 18.
Okay.
Right?
Is it so? It's right? Free. So Smartan, 15 to 18, free. How many days a week?
It could, I'm not sure. That I'm not sure. But I think it will be on the website.
Okay.
But for sale, I think there's no age limit. They have different programs for different categories of people and everything. And I understand they are also building more centers. So there's a lot that can be as well, with them.
The interesting thing about Senator Abiyeji is he's not one to speak. He doesn't say much. He's very quiet. He's also somebody that I need on this show. He's very, very quiet.
You should.
But I hear so much about him. And also, whilst we're at it, Lagos State, the next governor of Lagos State, Ikorodu Lokan. We need to start speaking out now. Like, seriously, Ikorodu Lokan. So, please, Sheyi, it's not your turn anymore. But anyway, let's not get into that. I have a message here from Ima in Lagos, who said, hello, Sisoge, if the basics like food, welfare, light and infrastructure can be taken care of, more than half of Nigeria's problems are cut in half. So food is not short-term solution for everyone in present-day Nigeria. That's Ima from Lagos. I don't think that's what you're saying.
But again, like I said, yes, exactly. So it's not about not taking care of it, but innovating the way we do it.
That's right.
Do you understand? Because if you let government to continue just buying food and importing, first of all, you're exporting the jobs, right? That's what you're doing. But second of all, you lose an opportunity for local innovation to actually find real solutions to these problems. At the end of the day, what is food for? Is it not to make you nutritious? Who says we must eat rice? Who says somebody made rice now? They did not burn us with rice.
That's right. Yeah,
so
you're right.
Can we innovate some kind of food that our people can grow quickly and eat for cheaper? So it's all about figuring out what the need is and innovating for it. That's how societies develop. So I agree with him. Those are the basics. But we must innovate the solutions to that. Government cannot just keep buying solutions from abroad, exporting jobs away, importing innovation into the country that doesn't really meet our needs, and then wasting our efforts.
And wasting our efforts. You can call very quickly 0201 277 0993, 0201 465 7190. You can still send a message to 0809 5975 805. Inye has been so kind. He said to me, sis, I can only give you 1 hour. I said, yes, no problem. But as soon as he got here, now, he's on down for conversations because he too is a co-pilot.
That's to reach. The co-pilot.
Yes, so.
I have to go honor Baba.
Yes, so. I have to go jiggy. No, literally, thank you so much. There's the questions are rolling in and I have so much more to ask of you. But here's the thing, 2 things you have to do for us now. Help us get the minister, Bosun Tijani, to come and talk to us, to come and be a co-pilot. He shouldn't be afraid. Whatever they told him about me is a lie.
I'll convince him.
Thank you. That's one. Number 2. Number 2 is we need Senator Abiru. But number 3 is because
I'll also talk to him.
Yes.
I'll talk to him as well.
Yes, please.
I'll talk to him as well.
Because you keep doing this incredible stuff and you're always willing to be on the downfall, we can only say thank you, Iyin, for all you do, whether outside of downfall, inside of downfall. You say they're chasing me off already. And have a wonderful, I know you're at an event and you took time out.
Yes.
Have a wonderful, but you've got to come back because we now have to take it forward. Okay. Where is our DeepSeek or Wazobia Seek coming from?
You know what? I will also send you some people that are working on some interesting things that you might be able to demo on down.
Yes, please.
I will. People do that the government went to units. You understand? So don't worry, we'll do it whether with us.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's your father's swing, brother. Take care.
Bye.
Well, you see, Danfo conversations, we don't care because this Danfo goes to places where other Danfos cannot reach. I will hold him to what he said. Like I said to you last year, we have to pivot. I'm going to keep talking about the things that take us forward as often as possible, getting in the guests to actually inspire, talk and open the space up for us to go to venture in that positive space. Yes, the country is hard, but honestly, we can do it. My name is Ireti Bakare-Yusuf, right? Sisi Oge, Lagos. You can call me Sisi. You can call me Sisi Oge, but don't call me auntie, and don't you dare call me mommy. I'll be back, Borderlines, at 4 o'clock. We will be talking to a journalist from Brazil, Nova Democración. That's the best I can do. Zainab busted out laughing. They were shut down by YouTube. They had 75,000 subscribers. Remember what happened to Africa Stream? It would appear it's not just to African journalists or African alternative media. And then we're going to be talking Congo. We'll have 2 guests debating Congo. Okay? I'll be right back. Until then, I'm going to go and wet my whistle, have something quick to eat very quickly so I can be back bright and sparkly at 4 p.m.